people who regret their breakup the most are the ones that break up under pressure, whether they are spiraling in their own life. They have a lot of things that are going wrong at the time, whether it's their job, their finances, their health, their family, their circles, anything at all that's going wrong in their life independently. And then all of a sudden they have a breakup because they're a little bit out of control. That's a huge population of people that regret the breakup. Then the other kind of people that regret a breakup are the commitment issue people. Anyone that gets right to the edge and says, you know what, I don't think I can do this. I feel as though I don't want to give up my freedom, or I don't want to say forever just yet, or I'm afraid it'll fail. Anybody with those fears is going to have that impulsive breakup. And then other people that have been brought up to feel like relationships just don't work, and they don't really have faith that no matter how much people love each other, they just don't ever make it full term. So those are the people that are usually going to regret the breakups when they happen. What does their comeback trail look like? And almost every one of them, the comeback trail looks very similar. And depending on who the person is, how much damage they have done in that breakup and the aftermath of that breakup, and who they are on the avoidance scale is going to dictate what they do next. Because a lot of times, after the breakup happens, especially in these types of breakups, they're going to have the relief stage. They're going to have a period of time where they feel like they solved all their problems. In that period of time, they are going to try to rebuild a life. So it's almost like they hit acceptance first. They accept the breakup. They accept this is how it has to be. They don't really know that there's going to be a future for the two of you. They don't believe that there is going to be. So they're going to feel as though, now that this is over, I need to restart elsewhere in my life. I need to get a brand new life going on the other side. So instead of worrying about what's going to happen with you and how you're doing, they're really self-absorbed when it comes to them getting themselves out there again, hanging around with friends, picking up different interests, and certainly getting into a rebound relationship many times. I know we hate that. We hate that, but it happens because they feel as though this part of their life is over. They feel like they've closed a chapter. So they're going to go forward in a brand new chapter. I just have to take some water because I have such a toothache right now. Of course, today's the day I choose to do these long videos. But anyway, so they get to a place where they are starting a brand new life, and the life is going to have nothing to do with you for the most part, and everything to do with them creating that. So they're going to do a lot of damage at that point. That damage is going to dictate whether or not you can put it back together again. Not only if they have the feeling that they can come back after all that, but if you can accept them back after all that. So those decisions do not have to be made today. Don't force yourself to get there. When they start to go in that other direction, create that brand new life and kind of get out of that relief stage, then after a period of time, they do have to sit with the loss. When that new relationship gets to be a regular relationship with conflict and problems and troubles, it's no longer an escape that it was before. Their life starts to settle on the other side. Some of the things that were happening, maybe the job, maybe finances or health and wellness or major life events, those are all starting to settle, and now they can sit with what they lost. Now they sit with, what did I trade to get here? And many times they start to miss the relationship they had, because while everybody has problems in a relationship, the foundation was probably pretty solid. And so when they start to think about that, they start to regret the moves that they made. But now comes the messy part, because now they've created a life with somebody new many times. They exited your relationship. They know that they hurt you. They know that they broke your heart. They understand that you may be in a different place. You may not want to put it back together again. It's going to be a lot of work to put it back together again. They could hurt you again. It's going to be much more work and a lot more difficult than it is to sometimes restart, where you have a clean slate and you don't have to repair the relationships with the friends, with the family, with the community. Because let's face it, when we have a breakup, it gets messy. We overshare. Everybody knows our business. And now a lot of people are not happy with the ex. They know that. They're not stupid, so they know all of the layers of trouble when it comes to putting things back together again. It is so much work. So at this point, first of all, the reach out on their part is going to be difficult. Some have no problem. They'll reach out in some sort of a way. They'll text, they'll call, they'll check in with friends. They'll watch your stories, they'll comment on social media, whatever. They're going to figure out a way to kind of get themselves back over to you. Other people are not. They're going to feel as though they don't have the right to contact you. That's why I'm a big believer in, if you want to check in on someone because you feel like you are missing them and you may want to have conversation, you go ahead and you do it. Just saying, hey, just wanted to say hi is enough that if they are thinking about coming back your way, they're going to walk through that door. And it's going to depend on who your person is. If you know that they would have a hard time coming back your way, and if you want to nudge them a little bit, you go ahead and you do it. Don't worry about what the quote unquote rules are, because there are no rules in breakups or love, let's say that. So a lot of times they may not have the courage to come back around and contact you, but if you contact them, you'd be surprised how many people will walk right through the door and be happy that you open the door. So that's completely up to you. And that's something that you need to think about without anybody else involved. Anyway, once initial contact is made, if you catch the person or if they are contacting you when it's too early in the process, like they're doubting their decision to go in a different direction, but still very afraid to make the full commitment toward you, it's going to be a little bit of that touch and go for the time being, maybe for months, but you might stay in contact every so often. You might check in with each other. You might get together and have a lunch or something of the sort. You're starting to build that momentum without necessarily talking about, what do we do? Do we get back into this relationship? Do we make it work? Do we get everybody on board? It's going to take a little bit of time to get there, so take your time. Then after some time passes, if you start to put it back together again and discuss how the breakup happened, what happened, and what it's going to take to put the couple back together again, you could do better than you did before. And at this point, you've had some months past, you've had time apart. You're making a really good decision about, is this person worth it? Did we have enough to put it back together again, especially because a breakup is going to expose even more trouble that the couple was having and didn't necessarily pay attention to it, even if it was just one person unable to manage some of their stress in life. So you're in a great position to put it back together again. That's completely up to the two of you to discuss and talk about and put a plan in place for the next stage. But most of the time when people have a breakup, like we just discussed, they're going to get to a point where they regret their decision. But the moves they have to make after that are going to be very difficult. They have to do almost a walk of shame back to you. They have to make things right between friends and family and everybody that's included. They have to make things right with you. They know they have to pay some sort of a penance in the end because of all the damage that they've done. You have to rebuild some trust in them because you lost your trust in them. They abandoned you, and they probably didn't worry about how you were going to get through the most difficult time of your life. So that's all going to be on your mind. It's not going to be so easy where all of a sudden they come back like, I love you and I miss you. You're going to be so wary of putting your heart back in their hands. So the road is really difficult. But if you can do it and giving yourself the time and really be smart about what were our problems, what do we need to work on, what do we need to talk about, what do we need to change, you could build something more beautiful than it ever was before. And at this point, you're making a great decision. If you choose not to get back in that relationship, it's because you gave it a lot of thought. You both have. So there's a lot that happens on the other side of the relationships after the regret starts to set in. And regret doesn't necessarily mean the other person has the ability to come back to you. It just doesn't. They may not have the courage to do that. They may not have the strength to do that, the skill set to do that. They may believe that they are going to hurt you again. And a lot of people do believe that. And to be honest with you, a lot of people do. So we have to take into account that at some point it has nothing to do with love for one another. It has much more to do with how do we repair something that is broken and needs to be fixed and is going to take a lot to get there. So everybody is different. You cannot go by another person's road. You have to take your own. You have to carve your own path with your person. Nobody knows your person more than you. So trust yourself to make really good decisions. And in my opinion, living with what if is a very difficult place to be. I would rather say if this person is worth it and you want to take that second chance, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is, you do you. Because what's going to happen is if they let you down again, you're going to know that you did everything you could to put that back together again. It didn't work. There is a closure there. There is a closure. And if it does work, even better. So it's up to you. Can handle heartache again if that's the way it's going to go. You're going to be alert when it comes to picking up on things that maybe you didn't pick up on before. You're strong. You can handle it. So follow your own path regardless of what other people are saying and doing. It's your life. It's your life. And you can handle it. You can handle it.